Hey guys, Andrew with Apex Pro. Thanks again for joining us for webinar one. This is some information that you'll need regarding webinar two. So in the first webinar, we talked about structuring your data review process, more or less the how-to for looking at my data. So your homework now for webinar two is to follow that process. Print out that PDF or pull it up and open up a couple data sessions, any track, doesn't matter when or where, and just go through the process that's outlined in that PDF. Um, as you go through the process, take screenshots of the things that you find, make some notes, just like it says in the process. And when you're done, send me an email, andrew@apextrackcoach.com, with your findings. So that could be a screenshot in one sentence, that could be two screenshots. Try to keep it nice and succinct because I'm going to get an email from 40 people. But try to keep it, nice and succinct. Hey, I found this. I don't have a sawtooth and I should here, or my friction circle looks like this and it shouldn't. Just give me what you find. More or less, you're doing the analysis. So that's what webinar one was about, how to look at the data, analyzing the data. Webinar two is going to be taking your analysis and coming up with some action items. So what I'm going to do is look through what you send me. And then during the webinar, I'm going to present some ideas for action items. So I'm going to say, someone sent me, hey, I don't have a sawtooth in this turn and this before this braking zone, and I should. I'm going to say, okay, let's define that in a little more detail. And we're going to talk about how to define those action items to set yourself up for success, because there is a good way to do it that can, make sure that you actually get it accomplished or not, right? And then we're going to talk about kind of implementing that and maybe visualizing it. Now, for the next webinar, for webinar three, we're going to go full circle and we're going to take our action items that we discuss in this webinar, and now we're going to come up with some ideas for implementing those action items. All right, so it's kind of a three-step process. It's analyze, create an action item, a to-do list essentially, and then implement. So for the implementation phase, that's going to be more translating our action items into physical movements, right? Or mental strategies, right? So that's going to be more things like slowing hands, turning into the corner, more aggressive initial input on the brake. And not only that, but it's going to be turning it into, how do I do that? How do I get a sawtooth on the speed trace? How do I make a corner a U instead of a V? How do I make a corner a V instead of a U? How do I get around a friction circle? Implementing the strategies. So again, summarizing this video, look through your data, follow the 5-minute and the 20-minute review process, take screenshots as you look through your data, and then send me an email with 1 or 2 screenshots and 1 or 2 sentences of what you found. Can be anything. What did you find in your data? And we'll take it from there. All right, guys, I'll see you next week on January, on next Tuesday at 7 p.m.